Considering that Call of Duty didn't even really show up to E3, Battlefield wins by default, but let's check out some of the gameplay that was showcased at EA Play by people that have no idea how to direct the spectator mode. I mean, seriously, stop cutting away from people just as it's about to go down like a Jay-Z song. Speaking of which, I never knew Battlefield was such a huge game in the hip-hop community. Who am I kidding? That's why the production team never hopped on board with any of them, why most of the plebs are playing with controllers except for Jamie Foxx and Terry Crews, you the real MVP, who we already know were amazing, and why Snoop decided to spark up a spliffy during his playtime here. Overall, the game's HUD and design actually resembles Hardline with a World War I skin over it, which isn't a bad thing because Hardline was actually a pretty slick looking game, even though most people hate on it because of the Battlefield moniker with a cops and robber shooter game. And to overload you even more with information flying up on the screen, there's hit damage indicators like in Destiny, along with incremental increases for health and capturing the objectives, so it looks like you're racking up more points than Ken Jennings on Jeopardy! I don't know if it's because they're trying to attract a more casual fan base or they did it just for show, but did they really change Conquest to count up in points instead of subtracting tickets to win? Like, look at this score here. The winning team took the L in every single column. How the fuck are they creating these scores? Making shit up as you go along is usually what politicians do, not video games. This map doesn't seem to have that many trenches, which is what you immediately think of when World War I is said, but hopefully they don't do like the Bad Company 2 route and not allow a prone mechanic, which would then necessitate the tons of trenches, because you can't actually play prone and you'd have to duck down into a trench. There seems to be a battle going on in the background of this map that's more interesting than the one that's actually going on. Instead of Levolution events for maps, there's dynamic weather, because everyone seemed to love the do-do-do-do-do-do in Dust Bowl or Gulf of Oman, the raining in Parasol Storm, and the snow blinding in Operation Locker. The weather changes at random at any time, which explains the rain here, but I'm pretty sure that this fog is just a result of Snoop baking out the entire EA Play arena room. The map looks amazing, but it more resembles the aesthetic of Hardline versus Battlefield 4. Does this mean that Battlefield 1 is expansion reskin of Battlefield Hardline, which is an expansion reskin of Battlefield 4? Nah, it seems like there's lots of depth and content going on here with the different weapons, vehicles, map items, and other beepity bops. There seems to be 4 classes, with the weapons being bolt-action rifles, SMGs, LMGs, sniper rifles, and shotguns, most of which more resemble female masturbatory devices than weapons we're used to seeing in shooters. The combat looks really good as long as you aren't a celebrity wandering aimlessly around the landscape, and there's a new melee feature which is highlighted here with the bayonet. It can either be a Commando-like success or a Geordie Jordan flat-screen TV-like fail. Call up a Juggalo because you get a hatchet to start the game off with. And I don't know if sniping is just difficult in this game or if the hit detection is spotty, but this dude had a real hard time trying to kill people. There's also a special vehicle class for those vaginas that can't hang with man-to-man combat on the ground, which hopefully cuts down on the amount of douche canoes that just use vehicles as transport to high sniping places with air vehicles. Speaking of which, check out the amazing physics here as this plane crashes into the windmill. No, wait, get back up in the air. It's still flying, and now it's crashing harder than an Egypt Air flight. There's also an assortment of strange-looking tanks, all with completely over-the-top unnecessary animations for entering and exiting. I can't wait to be killed Willis trying to do a somersault on the hood of a tank. There's also smaller vehicles like this motorcycle here with the sidecar bringing a whole new meaning to the term drive-by. One of the main things that the casters jizzed over was the airship, which is in the category of behemoth vehicles, which are automatically granted to the team that is losing in order to help a team that's getting their shit pushed in, almost like a nerfed form of auto balance or server balance that was in Battlefield 4. After watching how the Zeppelin would burn and crash, which is the correct order of events, not crash and burn, I don't understand how people couldn't foresee Hindenburg before it actually happened. It's similar to the AC-130 where you could spawn into it and take control of the guns, which hopefully work better than the pixel rendering of the propellers on the airship. Holy shit, my desk fan or your girlfriend blows harder than that. Speaking of the AC-130, the artillery seems to be similar to that in Battlefield 4, where it would be a map-based weapon available only to the team that has the objective of the artillery captured. It's unclear whether you can control it manually or if it's AI controlled like the rockets in Carrier Assault, but hopefully it's better than the 0 kills artillery normally gets you in World at War. There's also some other map-based weapons for people to camp on while claiming to PTFO, like mounted machine guns, anti-vehicle, and old-ass cannons. Another major change is the spawn screen, which makes it seem like you're playing a game of Risk, and it will definitely give you motion sickness as you enter the battlefield, but at least you won't get shot at while the screen is black transitioning into the battle anymore. Instead, you'll be teleported to your spawn death. The only other change that I picked out was that squads seem to be back to 4 players instead of the 5 that was in Battlefield 4 and Battlefield Hardline. Considering that 64 doesn't divide into 5 evenly, it was a dumb choice for a limit to begin with. That is, unless they're counting the commander or the hacker as the 65th player on the team, which I guess means the ability to play an RTS inside of an FPS has now been eliminated. Sorry to all you idiots that think you can IGL but UAV and objective on the outskirts of the map. Anyways, what did you guys think of Battlefield 1? I thought the game looked pretty sick and I cannot wait to play it, but of course I'll still take the piss because that's what I do. By the way, if you're a hashtag PC Master racist like me, check out the 75% off sales on Origin, right meow, link in the description for Battlefield PC games. I got Bad Company 2 Digital Deluxe with the Vietnam expansion, Battlefield 4, and Battlefield Hardline Standard Editions, all for only $18. That's a steal of a deal, but beware, it took me almost 48 hours for the games to actually show up in Origin, so they're basically as late as you hope your mistress isn't. I've been the Schwans27, out like the San Jose Sharks. Until next time.